It feels like I'm living in two different timelines. From a very young age, people have told me that I'm very mature. At my high school grad party, a friend of mine said, "I can't understand what you're saying a lot of the time because you use some very big words, but I do find you interesting." In my current life, a friend slash coworker who's about 10 years older than me says that while talking to our mutual friend who's around my age is fun, he finds the conversations with me are a bit more multidimensional. When I was a kid, I couldn't make friends my own age. And so I turned to adults. Consequently, when I was 8 to 10 years old, I became an adult myself. What resulted was this older, more mature, grounded persona who shows up at all the right times. And in fact, you've met her. She's in a lot of my videos. However, that timeline and the calendar year, my chronological age, if you will, neither of those line up with my day-to-day life, nor my life experience. I'm internally 25 years old. And I feel like I'm going through that mid-20s existential crisis. I can't figure out what to do with my life. Sometimes I sit in my room and I wait. For what? I don't know. It's like I'm waiting for something to happen, but I don't know what. I want something to happen, but I just sit in silence. Nothing ever does. I contemplate my own thoughts. And it feels like I've done everything, and yet I've done nothing. I got an education, and then I educated myself about the education. And what resulted was another existential crisis. What am I doing here? Do I belong here? What am I gonna do with my life? Do I steal the DeLorean from Back to the Future? Take it to a racetrack? Practice like hell? Win a race? Become the first person to win a race in a stolen vehicle? Or perhaps I can sing a musical number on the rooftops of an imaginary city. There'll be a song about being 5'4". Finally reached 5'4". True story. I'm not short anymore. I could put on whole thing. 5'4" the musical by Art Fanatic 809 and Associates. That sounds like the name of a law firm. There it is. Establish a musical law firm called Art Fanatic 809 and Associates in a city that I completely made up. Goals! My fiance tells me that I should become a voice actress for teenage boys. Mom, what's for dinner? Why won't she notice me? So, I heard that I'm being voiced by this 25-year-old who doesn't know what to do with her life. Lame. My mom always tells me, whatever's going on in that pretty head of yours, this too shall pass. Your mom's right. Older me? Don't look so surprised to see me, dear. I don't know what to say. Hi? This is the side of Art Fanatic 809 that you're more used to seeing. And so, I'm going to tell you something that I've learned. If anybody ever tries to tell you that you have to check a box, check all the boxes, fit into a very specific type of mold, meet strict criteria, for one thing, it's rarely out of maliciousness. The truth is, they're giving you a falsehood that's been passed down for God knows how long, from God knows how many people. But life is more nuanced than that. There's more to life than trying to fit into an exhausted image. This one-size-fits-all, cookie-cutter life that we're told that we have to live. Because with that, is anybody truly happy? I know I never was. Do you ever feel like you failed? I certainly have. I'm not even operating the same wavelength that society tells me to. And I've made peace with that. It's a story of my life. You know, when I was 28, somebody told me that I should have had my career figured out by then, but I thought, what career? I can't even decide. And even now, still contemplating whether I should steal the DeLorean or put on a musical number in my head. Sign-up sheets are in my imagination if you're interested, by the way. But always felt like I had to measure up to something that I'm not. But listening to you, realized that the only thing I failed at is fitting into a box that was never meant to fit in the first place. I have a few ideas, but it's still in progress. And that means you're learning. We're always told that once we reach a certain age, we're not allowed to make mistakes anymore. You have to have it all figured out. But that's a lie. It's a lie that society has instilled on us. Not playing by those rules. You don't have to either. Your anxiety is lying to you. Yeah, this all reminds me of that Godsmack song, Hollow. Time always seems to be passing by. It never waits for me. If I could do it all one more time, I wouldn't change a thing. You sound beautiful. Thanks. Took 7 years of chorus. It shows. At any rate, Godsmack is right. I wouldn't change a thing. And in fact, what I consider to be the worst mistake of my life, I can't even go back in time and tell my past self not to do it, because the truth is, without that regret I have, I might not even be here today. Oh, that's deep. But it makes me feel better about my own decisions. I feel like this huge sense of relief. Thank you. No problem. What you've just witnessed today is an example of asynchronous aging. Art Fanatic 809 isn't 32-year-old. She's actually 25-year-old internally. She's practically living in a 25-year-old body. You want to tell them? This reminds me of a meme I saw. It said, crowd above 25, what hurts today? And I look at it, I'm like, nothing! I can't relate. Because I have the body of a 25-year-old. I couldn't have said it better myself. Today, Art Fanatic is internally 25. In her high school years, she was preteen phase. She couldn't get her mind off of her Xbox. She loved spending every minute of time with her mom, because she was in her preteen, mom is the greatest phase. And heck, mom is still the greatest. I mean, who could deny that? Art Fanatic reached age 20. Her neurodivergent brain decided to switch teenager. And by that way, that tidbit of advice you got at 28 about having your career figured out and your whole life figured out, that person had it all wrong. You were actually entering your 20s, if you're 25 now. It makes sense with the timing. It's the only thing that has remained consistent in my life, it seems. It's the feeling that something's off. My whole life felt like something was off, as far as timing is concerned. But I recently learned about asynchronous aging and what it is, and I feel like everything makes so much more sense. Not confused, feeling behind. because I now realize that I didn't fail. And even if I wasn't neurodivergent and didn't have these timelines all around my actual calendar age, still wouldn't have failed, because the truth is, you have to live life at your own pace. It's something I learned throughout this whole experience, learning about all of this. Feel better about my current place in life and my aspirations in life. If any of this resonated with you, leave a comment below for your friend ArtFanatic809. Or for me, ArtFanatic809 Older Timeline 2.0? I don't know. If you have a better name for me, the Older Timeline, leave a comment below. Have a blessed day.